Hey everybody, Jake, your resident content cowboy here. Yeehaw. I wanted to give my final thoughts, the final verdict here on Crimson Blaze before we had Fantastical Parade hit us in just a few days. I'm going to be trying to go through every card in the set and I'll be talking about them as I do. We'll have them right above me here. This was an interesting set, I think, because we got all of the Kanto Megas. I think some people would say this is not an interesting set, Jake. We got all of the Kanto Megas. Like, it's very millennial coded, isn't it? Just keep giving us Kanto Pokemon until we die. But I want to go through it. I want to go through what cards I think were great, what was the best card in the set, what cards were underwhelming, and what cards down here in our future sight category might actually be good kind of in the future. I realize this tier is not right. This should be our Dragonite tier. We have our God tier. I'm going to put one card up here. This is for the best card in the set. We only have one God around here. We're not friggin' Norse. We've got our S tier. Great, amazing cards that will be, you know, strong into the future. A tier. I think you get the idea. B tier. Still got the B tier. These cards are fine. C tier, kind of underwhelming. D tier is just bad. Maybe we thought they would be good, but they're bad. Pack filler, these are awful cards. At least D tier you could try. Pack filler is just like useless. And then Future Sight is a card that I think maybe isn't good right now, but could be as we kind of move forward with our sets here. I think we should probably start talking with our Megas. That's why I have Mega Venusaur up here. Mega Venusaur, I think one of the better Megas in the set, and that is also due to some of the other cards that go with it, right? Which I'll talk about here in a little bit. But Mega Venusaur, 240 HP, very solid, 120 damage, plus 2 status conditions, poisoned and asleep, can set up some pretty decent plays. I would say, out of all the Megas, I think I was most impressed by Venusaur. And a lot of that has to do with Ivysaur. So I'm going to put Venusaur here. Probably it's either B or at least in this set, it's probably closer to A. But overall, I would say it's kind of a B tier Mega. I think it's pretty good. However, Megas in Mega Rising feel like they're still a little bit better. Like Altaria feels like it's a better Mega. Absol with Hydreigon, like things like that feel like it's doing better than Venusaur. But I do think Venusaur is a solid Mega in this set. And a huge reason for that is Ivysaur. Ivysaur, actually, interestingly enough, so I think Ivysaur is an A tier card. I think it's better than Mega Venusaur. I think a lot of the reason Mega Venusaur is good is because of Ivysaur. Ivysaur with the ability to take 2 energy from your energy zone and attach it means Mega Venusaur is viable. The stage 1s in this set for Charizard and for Venusaur are both pretty dang good. The stage 1 for Blastoise we could talk about in a little bit. So I think Ivysaur pretty good. I think the base Venusaur card in this set also is pretty decent, right? Poisonous Whip. They're poisoned. They take 90 damage. It's got 160 HP. It can be slotted into Mega Venusaur decks. And I think the big reason this card, again, is kind of decent is because of Ivysaur. And I think that's true of a lot of the stage 1s, right? Or a lot of the Megas, excuse me. I think their stage 1s really do a lot of work for them. Let's talk about our next Mega, which is Mega Charizard Y. Mega Char Y, extremely powerful, has some good future potential as well. It's always going to be good to have something that checks almost, not every, but almost every card in a meta with a single attack. I think Char and Venusaur kind of hang out in the same category for me. Not the best Megas in the game, but pretty dang good and solid in this set. You can make some pretty good decks with them. And again, I really do think the amazing thing about Char, even better than Venusaur, I think is Charmeleon. I think Charmeleon's ability, Ignition, where you put it into play and you power a fire Pokemon in the active spot, is honestly crazy good. I think it's one of the best cards in the set. I think Charmeleon is just so dang good. Without this, like, I don't think Charizard works very well at all compared to some of the other fire cards in the meta. And I think this card also has great future potential. So I think Charmeleon is, again, yeah, one of the best cards in the set. While its Mega is good, like B tier, I think it's good. You can play some pretty good decks with it. You can have some good success as you're climbing. ranked, and it does okay in tournaments, but still some of the older megas kind of beating it up. Moving on to our next mega here, we have Mega Blastoise. Mega Blastoise, this is my Kanto starter, so you know, let's be fair, water Pokemon have been kind of a monster ever since Suicune, so I guess they couldn't help us out too much. I do think Mega Blastoise is the worst mega in the set for multiple reasons. Its HP is not terrible, right? 230, not bad. However, it can't survive Charizard swinging on it. Its attack triple bombardment does 130 for 3. Not the worst thing in the world, 130 for 3, even though things like Altaria is doing 130 for 2, Blaziken is doing 120 plus burning, which is another 20 for 2. It also has an additional effect to it, which if you have a bunch more energy, like a ludicrous amount of additional energy, it will do triple bombardment and it will hit 50 damage to your opponent's bench Pokemon. The times this has worked for me, I've loved it. It's been so fun. It's also just way too much energy to ask, and its stage 1 is so sad compared to the other two. Venusaur's Ivysaur and Charizard's Charmeleon both give some type of extra energy, and the most energy-hungry one of the bunch gets Wartortle that doesn't give it energy. Like, am I taking crazy pills? So this thing prevents damage of it while it's on the bench, but only by attacks also, so it's not good against grenade. I don't know. I'm not saying it's the worst card in the game, but it's like the Blastoise line in this set is unbelievably disappointing. Really disappointing line in this set, and I'm sad about it, and I cry about it every day, and I cry and I cry, and my wife holds me and she says, I can't have a husband who cries this much, and I'm gonna leave you. Let's go to, which I think is insensitive. Let's go to Mega Lopunny. Mega Lopunny, for me, one of the most like one of the cards that I discounted too heavily and ended up really liking in this set. I still think it is a middle-of-the-road mega, hanging out here with things like Venusaur and Charizard. Like, it's fine, but man, I ended up liking this so much more than I thought I would. 2 energy, with the ability to do 180 damage, however, with the ability to do 0, right? Without will, you have an opportunity to do 0. You do guarantee to confuse your opponent's active Pokemon. It's a stage 1, so it's easy to slot into a lot of fighting decks. You don't need to be running rare candy and things like that. I actually was really pleasantly surprised with this one. Probably my favorite mega in the set, just like play style. I just really liked Mega Lopunny decks. Pairing it with Hitmontop and things like that, I thought was a great time. And yeah, more powerful than I thought it would be. I thought this was going to be like C tier probably, and I was pleasantly surprised. I'm going to put it into our B tier here. I think you could continue to play Lopunny in a lot of sets, and you'll still have a decent shot with it. Not the best mega though. Next, we have our final mega, which is going to be Mega Steelix. Mega Steelix is kind of in the middle of the bottom of the pack, in my opinion. The big problem with Mega Steelix, it's similar to the problem that we have from a Pokemon like Blastoise, and kind of similar to Char, but it just doesn't have, the same kind of ramp that Charizard has. Mega Steelix just requires a lot of energy to unfortunately not do enough damage, right? Charizard takes 4 energy to do 250. This takes 4 energy to do 120. Venusaur does the same thing, but it's got a great way to ramp itself. There are some decent Steelix decks. I don't think it's the worst card in the set, or the worst mega in the set. I would give that to Blastoise, but I also don't think it's very good. If I had to rank them all in different categories, I'd probably have them about where they're at right now. Venu, then Char, Lopunny, then Steelix, then Blastoise. But again, I think all the B tier ones are relatively playable, and I think Steelix isn't the worst thing in the world, but it's also not incredible, right? So there are our megas here. Now that I've gotten through our megas, I think it's probably a good idea to start going through some of our other cards in this set. I'm going to be moving through them a little faster. Some of them I won't bring up here because I just don't think there's much to say about them. Like Bulbasaur, things like this, I mean, they're not terrible cards. I don't even think there's much of a point to like rank them. It's just, it's basic. It's not bad. I would like to rank some things that I think are actually more relevant. So Ariados, I think is a cool card. I'm going to move it to our B tier here. It's a cool grass card that you can fit into multiple decks, and you can disrupt your opponents in some annoying ways. They can't retreat in ways they want. I wonder if you could still run something like this even when your opponents have got that super annoying new stadium for psychic cards. I think this is a cool card, and I enjoyed building it into a lot of grass decks, and grass is doing pretty good right now. So I like this. I would say this is B tier. I'll pull up the card really quick just so we can see it together. It has the ability Trap Territory. I couldn't remember the name of the ability. Trap Territory, where your opponent's active retreat cost is 1 more. It also one-shots baby Pokemon with 30 damage once it evolves. Pretty solid. Sunflora, I think, is a decent card as well. I liked a couple of the decks I threw this into. It's probably closer to our C tier. Quick Grow Beam, 1 energy, can do 60 if you have Quick Grow Extract in the discard pile. So you would need to be running a deck with Quick Grow Extract. However, I think most grass decks are going to run this, so I don't think it's bad. I think it's like a little underwhelming at times, but we played a really fun Executor deck with it. A couple cool things. Mothim, I'm not even going to get into it. Pack Filler, I think this card's bad. It's 3 energy for 70. It's just not good. Feels like a pack filler card to me. We've got like base Char and things like that. I think like base Charizard is fine. You could move it into a Charizard deck, right? 150 damage, does 30 damage to itself. Not the greatest thing in the world, but not bad. Houndoom to me is pack filler. I'll show these. There's a couple of cards that are just like this. We have Houndoom, stage 1, 50 damage. It's just like it's like a nothing card, right? There are a couple in this set that are just like this, and they're just kind of nothing cards. So that's like a pack filler card to me. I don't think it'll be doing anything special anytime soon. Next, we've got Baby Blastoise, which is probably just down here because of how bad the water cards are. Clawitzer, I actually think is pretty decent. Clawitzer, I like. I think it's going to hang out in the C tier here. Maybe even close to the B tier. I mean, 1 energy does 20 damage to all of your opponent's Pokemon. I like it. I made a really fun deck with it with Clawitzer and Greninja EX that I liked a lot. And yeah, I was enjoying Clawitzer. Like Clawitzer and Sunflora here, I feel like kind of hang out in the same realm for me. Another card that I think is maybe a little underrated. Maybe it needs the right meta, but unfortunately, this might be it. Just something with Megas and Oricorio. Basculin, I think, is all right. It does 80 damage if you move it in that turn. So if you're playing things like Mantike, Manaphy after you've already powered 1 turn, and then you move it in, you can one-shot things like Oricorio. 80 damage is pretty decent, but I just didn't find too many situations where you wanted to fill a deck with it. You'd rather probably have something else, unfortunately. Cool. Moving on to new Magneton and Magnezone. I like them both. I think new Magneton is probably B, but really fun because you can use Clement's backpack to end up doing more damage to not only the active spot, but the bench, which I liked a ton. Then we have the new Magnezone, which I think is excellent. New Magnezone is really good. It's maybe one of the better cards in the set. It might be one of our S tier cards in this set. Maybe it's closer to A tier. Extremely good. Mirror Shot's very powerful. Pairing this with Genetic Apex Magneton, you can power it so easily. Once again, Magnezone is a powerful meta card in Pocket, and this is just another really great one. And yeah, the decks have been really, really strong with it. It's a very, very good card. Heliolisk is next. Love this card. Love it. Oh man, I love this card. The Magnezone Heliolisk deck was the deck that I played most when I was just, not streaming or anything, and I just want to have a few fun games climbing ranked. Love this deck. I think this card is really solid, and it has a lot of good pairings in this set. I'm going to put it into our A tier. That might be a little high. I think my personal enjoyment of this card is probably coloring it too much. I think it's maybe closer to the B tier here, but I just loved it. I loved it, and I love the decks we got to make with it, so I'm putting that one there. Moving to Mismagius. Mismagius is not bad. I think it's a middle-of-the-road card. I think it's like B, maybe high C. Move all energy from this Pokemon to one of your benched Pokemon. The only problem with a card like this is I think in some ways you could imagine with Gardevoir, oh, this could be even better. And then in other ways you could think, oh, maybe this card just loses all relevance completely because they're just different cards that do so much more, right? I like it, and I'm interested to see if maybe in the future we get something cool with it. Our next card, Reuniclus. Reuniclus is such a fun card, man. This card, I would say, is probably C tier. However, future-proofing, this card could be great, right? With the ability for the new Gardevoir to just power this thing, that might be a really, really good combination. The problem, of course, whenever you run into something like that is you have 2 stage 2s in a deck, which can be really difficult to figure out, right? I would say this is probably closer to C or B without it, but with the possibility of guard in the future, I hope we get some really cool decks with this. When you do get this going and you're putting a ton of psychic energy on it, it is a hilarious card. Another one, this card is like the reason I wanted this category, Xerneas. I think Xerneas is straight up bad. This is a bad card. However, with the stadium and with Gardevoir generating energy, this could become a actually good card. So with the new stadium allowing you to move Pokemon around, like with essentially 2 less retreat cost, all of a sudden this becomes a 120 HP basic Pokemon that you are able to power once your backline is ready to go. This can be in the active spot, this can be soaking up damage, this can be doing a lot for you, and then later you can pivot it in and do some damage if you would like. You also could heal it with like there are multiple ways, you know, to heal it, and then it could start doing more damage. This card I think has some future potential, and I'm excited to see what this does in the new set for sure. All right, next we've got new Onix. I think it's something decent to talk about. I'll hang it out right here with new Steelix. I think new Onix is pretty good. It's not bad. You know, you've got 30 damage, which isn't amazing, but the big effect here is being able to prevent all damage. And sometimes in a Mega Steelix deck, you just need another turn. So I think it's fine. I'll put it in the C tier. Like, it's nothing to write home about, but it's actually not the worst card. This is what you're using with Brock to power Steelix and then get it in and start fighting. Our next card is going to be, yeah, we've got like Hariyama and stuff. Hariyama is pack filler, useless nonsense card. Like Mindfu and Mindshao, like, yeah, I don't know what to say about a lot of these cards. I don't think they're very good. Muck is absolute pack filler. So is Garbodor. Garbodor feels like pack filler to me, just like not very good. We've got the new Trubbish, or yeah, we've got Trubbish, and we've got Liepard. I don't think any of those cards are really that interesting. Maybe there's something you could do with them. They just don't seem like useful enough to me. I'll show you the card here really quick, but you know, it does 60 damage. And then your opponent shuffles a random card back into their deck, and then you shuffle this Pokemon back into your deck. It just doesn't seem good enough to me. So yeah, I don't really like that card. New Steelix isn't too bad. You could slot one of these in when you're playing a Steelix deck. The only problem is, a lot of the time when you're doing that, you just want Mega Steelix online. That's what I found. When I was using Steelix, I just thought, no, I just need Mega Steelix, and I need to use something else to deal with, like Ori, probably. So I would say this is probably not great. I'll put down in the D tier. Maybe it's closer to C. New Probopass. I tried it. It just didn't seem like enough, right? And it feels like it could be pretty good. 2 metal energy to generate 2 metal energy. I think there's definitely a place where this isn't the worst card ever, but it doesn't feel like it's a very consistent card. You just need too much going on. Let's see. Genesect, or as I accidentally said before, Genesect. Sorry about that. Also, another weird one. If this was getting the Xerneas treatment, it could be kind of cool. Maybe in the future we see something interesting with this. So I'll put it in our future set right here. But in general, I don't think this is a very interesting card. Ditto, however, really cool card. Ditto is probably up here in our B tier. I don't think it's found a perfect deck yet, but it has a few decks that are really good. Like Ditto Rampardos is pretty solid. And moving into the future, we could see other options for this card. I like Ditto, and I like what they've done with this. The first Ditto they released is one of the most bizarre cards they've ever put together. But new Ditto is pretty cool. So I like this, and I think it's also got good future potential, right? I'm gonna put it up here in our B tier. Next, we are going to take a look at Porygon. You know, I didn't really love Porygon Z. I thought I would enjoy it more. Sometimes it feels like you get set up and you can do some decent damage. Other times, not too impressive. I'm going to put it in our C tier, but I didn't love it, honestly. Staraptor is a like D tier for me. This card is rough, man. It's flipping 4 coins, 50 for each heads. Yeah, it's just a lot. It's just pure gambling nonsense. And it is fun when you can get it online and you can use Barry or something like that, do some damage with it. But every time I ran it, we've basically, you know, we're just getting unlucky with it. And it doesn't put you in a position to win. It puts you in a position to get lucky, is what it feels like to me. New Lopunny, new Buffalon. I don't think there's a ton to say about these cards. However, new Furfrou. This card is good. And I think a lot of us expected it to be pretty good. You take -20 and it one-shots babies. It's great in the active spot. I would say this is an A tier card. Really solid one that actually could live on from this set for sure. I think it's a really good card, and I think it's cool because they finally gave us a good version of this dog, which I think is fun. Now we can move into our items and then our supports. So we've got our items. Clement Backpack. Extremely specific, but pretty dang good. 20 extra damage. I think it's really best when paired with Magneton. Of course, Heliolisk being able to do 140 isn't awful either, but I think it's really good when paired with Magneton. I think because it's so specific, I'm probably saying it's like a B tier card that really relies on the cards from this set, which is why it's going to be there. Oop, I put the wrong thing. That's Clement. That's Clement Backpack. There we go. Our next item is the Quick Grow Extract. Quick Grow Extract happens to be a crown rare in this set, and I think for good reason. Quick Grow Extract is, you know, I think it's probably the best card they've put in this set. It's a card that could exist for a very long time for grass decks. It's incredibly powerful. You just literally go into your deck and not only find a card, but you just throw it right on that card you're looking for. Yeah, extremely good. I think Quick Grow is... It might be my God tier card. There are a few that I'm thinking between, but Quick Grow could be our God tier card of the set. Incredibly good. It probably deserved the crown rare. It is a card that you could be seeing for a long, long time, well after people, you know, forget Crimson Blaze ever existed. Next, we have our supporters. We have Clement and we have our Serena. So let's talk about Clement. Because this grabs like one of the most powerful cards in the game, which is Genetic Apex Magneton, I think this card's extremely good. And it's could be good for a very long time. I think this is probably an S tier card. It's up there. Like, as far as this set goes, like, they're, you know, none of these cards are Cyrus necessarily, right? This set doesn't seem to have that. But I do think that card's extremely good. Magnezone will probably always be a good card as long as there isn't something stopping Magneton from generating energy. And Clement will literally go through your deck and grab 2 of them, which is extremely good. I mean, that's really, really solid. Basically, if you start with a Magnemite, and you, by the way, new Magnemite's good too. I forgot to put that up there, but it's 30 damage. It can hit a baby. I think that's a solid card too. And it is 50 HP, so you could grab it with Lucia. But, yeah, the ability to grab both of your Magnetons that you need, or if you're running Magneton Heliolisk, to just grab a ton of stuff that you need to make that deck work. It's really good. Yeah. Great. It's a specific professors, which is solid. And then we have Serena. Serena is, I think, good. And in certain decks, pretty solid, but I don't know. There are just so many ways to get cards that I don't find as often. I'm going, man, if I only had my Mega. Like, Professors gives you 2 cards. Copycat is one of the strongest cards because you could set up scenarios where you get, you know, you could trade 1 or 2 or whatever for 4, 5, 6 cards or something like that. Other ways have places to draw, but I don't think it's a bad card by any means. I think it's pretty solid, and depending on how many megas you have that are basics or anything like that, this card actually gains more value, right? It's like it's a Pokeball at that point that is a specific heat-seeking Pokeball. I think this is probably high B, maybe even A tier, but maybe high B. I haven't found an insane amount of decks that need it, but I do think it is a pretty good card. Let me go ahead and just adjust this real quick so we can kind of see this a bit better now that we've got our full list here. It's a little tough to see all in one. There we go. So that's about what I think of Crimson Blaze. I'll kind of give some other thoughts on it before I put my God's Here card. And yeah, I've been going back and forth on it. I kind of mentioned it earlier. I do think I'm giving it to Quick Grow. I think it's probably the best card in the set. However, I think Charmeleon's extremely good. New Magnezone's great. Clemont's great. Furfro. Heliolisk, I am being too nice to this card. It's probably closer to B tier, but I just like this card a lot. And as far as the megas are concerned, I think you have 3 solid megas here in Venusaur, Charizard, and Lopunny. But I do think they're not as good as Mega Rising, it seems like. And yeah, I wonder if that means that these megas will kind of be forgotten at one point, which is maybe my big thought on Crimson Blaze. You know, we had the sort of mirroring from the launch of the game, which was Genetic Apex into Mythical Island, and then the next set we had, of course, Spacetime Smackdown. We've got that situation coming up. However, the next set is a 1-pack set, so I'm kind of interested to see what they do with that, if they end up releasing like more cards into it, considering it's 1-pack, or if that might be kind of the future of it. Maybe there's just more cards in a 1-pack than we would expect. This is our Mythical Island, where I think we'll walk away with a few things that are pretty relevant, but kind of like Mythical Island, a lot of this could sort of get washed away. I don't think this was the most impressive set, even though I had a lot of fun building a ton of the decks in this set. I definitely don't think it was as impactful as maybe we would have wanted. I think they did Blastoise and Steelix to a different degree, of course, a little dirty, and they could have made those cards a bit better. I think Venusaur and Charizard will still exist. But yeah, they just don't seem like... I don't think they released a ton in this set that was super, super impressive. And some of the best stuff in this set is like Magnezone again, you know? So for me, I think the set was fun, but meta-wise and future-wise, a little underwhelming. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, what you agree with, what you disagree with, maybe what card you're most excited for in the new set. Of course, we're going to be live every day, ripping packs, making decks. I hope to see you there. Thanks, guys. We did it.